Wolves who live along the Katmai Coast in Alaska hunt sea otters. Who knew? Well, actually, this is a pretty recent discovery, and we wouldn't know about it, and we wouldn't know a lot of things that we now know about Katmai wolves if it weren't for Ellen Dymit, a wildlife ecologist and our science advisor for the Katmai Coast game expansion. So I'm just going to hand over this devblog and let Ellen tell you all about it.
I'm Ellen Dymit. I'm a PhD candidate at Oregon State University in the Wildlife Sciences program, and I've been studying coastal wolves in Alaska for my PhD research. I grew up playing WolfQuest when I was younger. I remember playing it in the upstairs computer room at my parents' house when the game was launched from the International Wolf Center website. I would spend hours after school playing WolfQuest up in our computer room. And when I would be out on the playground at school the next day, I used to pretend that I had the scent vision that wolves have in the game, and that I could see the scent trails of all of the other kids and animals on the playground. And I would just run around the playground in my own inner world, pretending like I was a wolf and like I was following the scent trails of my prey and of other wolves. The impetus for our research project on the Katmai Coast was multiple observations of wolves carrying sea otter carcasses in their mouth. There were park rangers and park visitors who actually captured photos and videos of wolves walking along the coastline with sea otter carcasses. So we were wondering, is this sea otter consumption a one-off thing, or is this more of a common occurrence for wolves on the Katmai Coast? And that research question was the seed that grew into this large Katmai coastal wolf project. We started to formally survey the diet of wolves on the Katmai Coast by collecting their poop. In order to scientifically describe coastal wolf diet for the Katmai coastal wolves, we use a method called fecal DNA metabarcoding. Fecal DNA metabarcoding is a way for us to figure out exactly what an animal has been eating by analyzing the DNA that's left behind in its poop. This includes the DNA of the defecator, which is the wolf in this case, as well as the DNA of their prey. When an animal like a wolf eats something, tiny bits of the DNA from that food, like cells from the meat and the hair and the hooves or whatever else, pass through its digestive system and they end up left behind in the scat. We then collect these scats and extract all the DNA from them in our laboratory, and then we use techniques to pull out and read the specific DNA fragments belonging to whatever prey species the wolf ate. So all animals have a genome, and a lot of this genome, the genetic code is the same across many species, but there are specific regions of the genome that are distinct and unique across different species. For fecal DNA metabarcoding, we target these variable regions of the DNA and use them like a genetic barcode that allows us to distinguish species from one another at that specific region of the genome. For example, you might have 200 base pairs of DNA on the 12S rRNA gene for animals that is different for moose, deer, wolves, bears, whatever you may want to look at. By sequencing these barcode regions of the DNA, we're able to read the unique genetic code and attribute it, assign it to different prey species. From our wolf diet analysis using scat samples we collected in Katmai, we found that the wolves in Katmai have an extremely high marine-derived diet. Wolves in Katmai are eating a lot of marine mammals, seabirds, a variety of fish species, and even marine invertebrates. Consistent with the observations we had of wolves carrying otter carcasses on the beach, we found that sea otters are the main prey item for wolves in Katmai, comprising around 22% of their overall diet. Seeing how prominent sea otters were in Katmai coastal wolf diets, we wanted to find out how much of the sea otter consumption is coming from scavenging versus active hunting of the otters. Sea otters are thought to be at carrying capacity off of the Katmai Coast, meaning that they likely wash up dead a lot from natural causes, and wolves get lucky sometimes and encounter these carcasses on the beach, and if they're fresh enough, they get a free meal. However, we also got lucky enough to witness a wolf predation event on a sea otter. We were staking out this offshore haulout on the Katmai Coast at a location called Swick Shack, and through our spotting scope, we noticed 3 wolves coming up the beach. The wolf in the lead first walked out to this rock scurry where a sea otter was hauled out of the water and resting, and she crouched behind the rocks and waited for the other two wolves to come up. Then the three of them together surrounded and cut off this otter's escape route to the water and attacked it together, ultimately killing it. And then they sat on the rock and ate it together. So after this observation, we now know that wolves not only scavenge sea otters that wash up dead, but also actively hunt them. Since we saw this, we've also been in touch with researchers at other areas on the northern coast, such as British Columbia, who have also documented wolf predation of sea otters.
So you can see why we're excited to have Ellen as our advisor for the Katmai expansion. And this is pretty cutting edge research. It gives incredible detail about wolf diet. But it's important to remember that this is limited to the sample season, which was summertime. That's why there's so many salmon represented here, because much of the sampling season was during the salmon runs. It's also why moose are so well represented here, because a lot of these are moose calves who are very vulnerable compared to adult moose. And the brown bears, yes, in Katmai, wolves do eat bear cubs. And there's a lot of other animals here, a lot of other animals. We are not going to have all these animals as potential prey, but it's amazing to see what this metabarcoding technique can reveal to us. So that's some of the science behind the upcoming Katmai Coast game expansion for WolfQuest. We are making steady progress. It's going to be a while still, but we'll share more at upcoming devblog, so stay tuned.